Warning, 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 warning. 3, 2, 1. The FantasyFootballTips.co podcast with Mills and Quigliano.
Hello, you're listening to FantasyFootballTips.co, the podcast in association with Premier Punt, the home of daily fantasy football betting. My name's Mills, it's game week 15, and I'm joined in the studio once again, very pleased to say, by JP, the voice, and the ever-present Quigliano.
You've gone JP ahead of Quigliano that time.
Well, I wanted to save the big billing till last.
Mate, he's the add-on, I'm the regular. I want that re-recorded at some point.
Sorry, it was in my sightline. There's no way I'm re-recording that, the way my voice is this week. As you can hear, the illness has prevailed. Still ill.
I'm honoured to be named first, so thank you for that.
Absolutely. Well, I was named first, but you had second billing there. So
Second.
Quigliano's not a happy man.
Well, I'm going, so that's the end of that.
Well, glad to see that he's actually joking there. Quigliano, lots to talk about in the show this week.
Well, yeah, I mean, off air you were saying, I don't know whether I should say hello instead of hi this week, and you've gone with a hello, so we're going to discuss that.
Well, I don't think it's really worthy of airtime, is it?
The fact that you were so...
It did sound... I felt awkward saying it.
You spent a whole week deciding whether to say hi or hello. People are debating over Hazard and Ozil here, and that's what you're worried about.
Hi or hello, absolutely.
You've angered me now, so...
I've upset him straight away.
Wow.
Well, Quigliano, the podcast team, let's start with that. You know, he doesn't want to talk, he doesn't want to speak. The podcast team has already been done. Quigliano has gone in there, made 2 transfers already this week. To be fair, he did ask me, JP. He said, "Am I okay to do it?" I said, "Let's go for it." You're the man with the God complex. You're the one with those supernatural powers.
It does say on a dollar bill, in God we trust, so we will say, in Quigliano, we trust.
Absolutely. So, do you want to talk us through those changes, Quigliano?
Try and butter me back up here.
You know my tactics.
Right then, well, we've chopped out the injured Sanchez. Still unsure, unless some news has come through today, how long he's going to be out for. But people were selling like it was the New York stock market crash. So had to get in there early, get rid before the price it came in. So we've chopped him. We also then have chopped out Mata, because Man United are looking a bit blunt in attack at the minute. So to replace them, we've got Ozil and Hazard. For me, our team is looking, for once, Boston.
Absolutely. 75 points last week. Pretty decent return. Pretty pleased with that. Green arrows, nice to see. I mean, we're still languishing in about millionth place overall, but it's improving, and that's all we can do. And we said, it's a 38-week season. It's not going to be decided after 14 weeks, but we are getting closer, ever closer to that halfway point. And obviously December now, 5 weeks this month, and after that we are halfway through.
It's sometimes just ride it out till Christmas and get that wild card. Get that flaming wild card back in your life. Yeah,
I mean, we've still got no Aguero in the team, so that's one slight concern. But I still think, the midfielders are where the points are at so far this season, with the exception of Jamie Vardy, the midfield. And we have got a very strong midfield. So just to talk us through that, we've got Kevin De Bruyne, we've also got Ozil, Mane with a good fixture this week against Aston Villa, and Eden Hazard, again with a good fixture against Bournemouth. So strong mid. Pleased with that.
That midfield does intimidate me. It's that good.
Wow,
that just shows how mentally weak you are. But
I mean, if only you could see his face as he says it. I mean, I'm talking about his face. We're going to be talking about this later on, because we have actually had an entry. And by the way, it was a little competition we ran, wasn't it? That we said, we described JP on air last week. With the beard and the ears and the hair and everything else, the eyebrows.
And we didn't say that, but
we had a portrait in, so we'll be talking about that later on. In fact, if you're listening to this on YouTube right now, you may actually be able to see the image of JP and the portrait, and just look at the likeness. Wow. But we'll talk more about that later. But podcast team this week, we think we're going to do pretty well. The forecast is good.
Yeah, I think the fixtures are favourable. But that's the shame. It's going to be favourable for everyone. So I anticipate high point scores. The top clubs, it's all looking at the top clubs again, and the strategy always for me should be build your team around as many top 4 teams as you can, and we're looking at that. We've got the right players at the right teams playing the right clubs, so.
Absolutely, so all good on that front. We'll be back right after this with this week's Game Week Tips.
You're listening to Mills, Quigliano and The Voice on the Fantasy Football Tips podcast.
Okay, so we will be talking about this week's Game Week Tips very, very shortly. But JP, first of all, how are you feeling about that jingle? You've made it.
Wow. First of all, mentioned first. Now I've got my
second.
Second, apologies. Now I've got myself in the jingle. It feels very, very special. Very special.
Is your life coming together?
There's probably not many better days. Yeah, I can't think of a better day in my entire life.
Wow. I mean, that is that's sad.
That is sad. That is sad. Pathetic.
I would prefer to call it memorable than sad.
I mean, it's not even a premium jingle. It's not like the.
I'm just trying to keep it PG here. There's so many things running through my head. I'm not gonna say it for fear of legal prosecutions, but there's places I could have gone with that, and I've kept it quiet.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, so Quigliano, Game Week 15. We've already said fixtures looking pretty favourable this week. I'm going to come straight in to hear your Gary of the Week.
Gary of the Week, okay, it's that ex-girlfriend that I spoke about a few weeks ago. Mesut Ozil. Okay, I thought I'd upgraded to a better model.
I mean, if you've only started listening to the podcast this week or last week, you're going to be very confused by that. But
so yeah, I had Ozil. This is a good few weeks ago when Sanchez was firing. Out she went in with Sanchez. Supposedly this catwalk model who was beautiful and going to score me loads of points. Looks back on my old on the ex's profile, and what do I know? Banging in loads of goals, screwing me over. And now Sanchez has gone, it's got to be the Gary of the Week, Mesut Ozil.
Okay, I absolutely 100% agree with that. Said last week, for me, he's a must-have player, an absolute must-have player. The way he's playing this season, and he came good again last week, and with Sunderland at home this week again. I think for me in that game, the key is an early goal for Arsenal, or an early-ish goal. They don't even kind of get into 60 minutes without a goal, because I think that's just going to play right into Sunderland's hands. They're going to go there to defend, but if you get an early goal, I think Ozil, yeah, big time this week. So, okay, the long shot, the Xabi.
The long shot, okay, it was 2 weeks ago, it was the Gary, and that was...
Well, that was a foolish decision.
That was Eden Hazard. For me, it's still the top. Hazard has to be going in your team now, for me, personally. 10.9 million. Most teams are losing Sanchez. You could transfer him out and get Ozil in, but I also think Hazard is that sweet, sweet option. Just remember the pedigree, people. Remember the class that's linked to that man, Eden Hazard.
Is there a little bit of living in the past going on right now?
I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of inclined to agree with Quigliano on this. His class does precede him. Last week against Spurs, I mean, he did have that fantastic shot, which was well saved by Lloris. If that had gone in, we'd all be sitting here saying, you know, Hazard is bang back in form. It was a very good stop that stopped a very, very good shot.
I mean, plus the way, JP, you're dressed, I would have thought we are living in the past.
There's some truth in that, absolutely, yes.
Dressed like a 65-year-old man.
Slight exaggeration, but some truth to that, yeah.
No, I mean, well, who knows? Shell suits might be coming back, I'm not sure. But anyway, moving on to the Delia. Okay, the Delia... We're calling out, this is a personal one for me, it's the Man City physio. Where are you? I need you to look after my boy Aguero, who's been put back in because he scores 5 goals in one game. You do realise he needs protecting. So where are you? Let's be having you, because he had a little kick on the heel and I need him playing this week.
Okay, so yeah, you put him in your team, didn't you, last week? I mean, that's got to be bad. I mean, again, I've sat here and said, wait. He gets injured in December. He's not good in winter, and it's a different injury again. I know people are saying it's a kick on the heel. He'll recover. He'll be fine. I'm still not convinced he's not going to pick up another injury before Christmas. This is the time of year where he picks injuries up. For me, if you can wait until that wild card in January, then that's the way to play it. But JP, what you think?
Interesting, actually. I'm glad you've spoken about the wild card, because I was actually going to say maybe people will be tempted to take a gamble on him, knowing that a wild card is coming if it goes wrong. Thoughts?
Okay, but yeah.
I'm just a question. I'm not,
He
I'm not God. Quigliano.
He is. the best player within the Premier League. That's
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree.
Yeah, when he's
Standard.
fit, yeah.
so. Well, it doesn't even need to be. He scored.
He scored in his
came back
first game back, yeah, he did.
Mills, you're going to be proved wrong on this.
No,
You're going
look,
to be in humble pie, and you're going to be jumping on the bandwagon far too late.
okay, if that's what you think, we'll wait and see. For me, I think there is some top quality, not necessarily top quality, but strikers that are performing at such a high level at the moment that you can justify not having him.
Potential. I will give you that.
Yeah,
for
I
the
would agree
price
with
that you have to, the hits that you have to take to get him in.
Yeah.
But moving on then to
Yeah.
the side tips. One of those players featured last week, Deeney, who called me out there, didn't you, Mills?
Yeah, I
last
mean,
week?
I said Igalo, didn't I? And when Igalo scored the first goal in that game, I was straight on WhatsApp to Quigliano saying, I told you. But to be fair, he came good, he got his goal, and he got the bonus points before he
And
said,
the assist.
And the assist.
Yes, I'm aware of that. So well done, Quigliano. That's why you're here.
You're welcome. So Deeney and Igalo are your options. Those a side tip for this week, maybe to allow you to get Aguero in. Also, we've already talked about the fixtures. Willian at Chelsea is another attacking threat there. Probably the safer person. You know he's going to be playing. The likes of Pedro and Oscar, you're never sure where they're going to rotate. Going to Liverpool, we fancy Newcastle are hideous.
They're terrible.
They are hideous. And Benteke is an option for you at Liverpool. Sturridge is making his way back, but far too much of a long shot to actually mention yet. Milner is actually chipping in a little bit. A couple of penalties.
yeah.
Moreno, okay, clean sheets, and because he's so attacking, he does tend to draw on those bonus points if they can keep it clean. Everton, no surprises that we're calling out Barkley and Deulofeu, and probably most of you already got Lukaku in there already. Southampton, stuttering a little bit for me, but Pella is back, or is Shane Long an option? Scored against Stoke, decent header, like that. And then finally the man that everyone's got, apart from me, and that is Vardy.
Okay, I mean, yeah, lots and lots to think about there. I think a lot of those players are going to be featuring in most people's teams, aren't they? But we're talking about this week, and I can't disagree with any of those really quickly. I know.
Nice tips.
Nice tips.
Like
You've got in trouble for that before, haven't you, saying that sort of thing? That time in Hooters.
at least 4 times. Once last week.
And that wasn't the best day of your life.
No.
No.
This is.
Yeah.
This, in a cold, dark, small room with me and Quigliano and a microphone, this is the best day of your life.
Yes.
Okay, we'll be back after this.
You were listening to Mills and Quigliano on the FantasyFootballTips.co podcast. Sponsored by Premier Punt. All your fantasy Premier League tips in one juicy little podcast. Get in touch at www.fantasyfootballtips.co.
Okay, so we're going to be looking at some questions in a minute. Quigliano from Twitter, you called out those Aussie listeners, and we've got some questions for you this week.
Very loyal fan base there. Just shout out to all my Australian brothers over there. So thank
Okay,
you.
a lot of Melbournians as well, as they like to call it, as one Twitty called himself. JP, it's come to that time. We've got to bring it up. We said last week, I think we were just having a casual chat. Probably, I mean, the podcast is 5% tips, isn't it? 95% general
Nonsense.
Yes,
yeah. So if you weren't listening last week, which is hard to believe, but if you weren't listening last week, we started describing JP. We talked about his beard. We talked about his slick hair. We talked about the shabbiness of the beard and the contrast with
That's
that
been
hair.
trimmed.
We talked about the sort of defined eyebrows that are a very prominent feature on his face, and we talked about his small, nicely sort of shaped ears. And
I thought you were on about something else there.
I'm happy with nicely shaped, actually. I'll take that.
but small.
Hang
But
slightly
small.
to the left as well.
Yeah.
Ears.
Yeah.
And we actually said, didn't we, if you send in a picture of JP, what you think he looks like, based on this description, the best picture that's to come in will gain premium membership for a whole year free of charge. And
Wow. I can just imagine how many entries have flooded in.
well, we had one.
Wow. Fantastic.
And JP, it is amazing. I'm going to show you now, and this is, by the way, this is on this is on YouTube, so or it'll be on the fantasyfootballtips.co website as well on the podcast page. Please have a look at this image if you haven't already. It will be a picture of you and this.
Wow. Are you going to show me the picture or get the mirror out my face? Because that is that good.
I mean,
amazing.
It's a penciled sketch.
It's fantastic.
And by the way, this has come in from FPL Junior on Twitter. Well done, Junior. You have won a free membership for 12 months.
True to his word.
Just go through the likenesses there for me, please.
I mean, pretty much everything is perfect. The ears are tiny.
The face is quite wide.
I was going to go on to the negatives afterwards. The hair is slick. The beard is well groomed, but not too well groomed because there's a hint of shabbiness. The nose is the right size. The eyebrows are crazy thick, which is basically true. The only minor thing I would say is it's a little round faced. I've got a slightly skinny face at times. I would argue.
At times
it changes.
At times, yeah. The more excited I get, the faster it gets. Yeah, exactly. Like a gerbil. Stop.
Please keep talking, JP. This is amazing.
Mills, he's actually crying. I've actually reduced him to tears. You know how a gerbil during the winter time stores things up in its cheeks?
Else is it,
yeah.
Come on,
anyway,
Mills, keep it together.
Anyway, come on, Millsy, professionalism. No, it's a good effort.
They're very straight eyebrows.
Mine are slightly more curved, but he's got the thickness right. You'd almost suspect he'd seen my face before.
FPL Junior, it was worth it just to hear JP describe that. That is absolutely amazing. For all those of you who don't have the artistic skills that FPL Junior has, you can get premium membership this week for £6.75 instead of the usual £9. Use the code CYBER, and that is until Friday. That was worth every second.
Every second.
That's amazing.
Just imagine seeing that dance.
Oh yeah, you promised a dance.
I promised. I'm going to tell your audience. I promised a dance. There will be a dance to follow for that person.
Oh, for that. Oh, right. Okay.
Tina Turner over there.
Well, let's put it this way. It's going to be sent to them, so they can do what they want with it. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
I think that's a male there. Just to confirm that you're okay with that.
I've got no issues with that sort of thing. Do you? I don't know.
Not that I've got an issue, but I'm just checking you're going to send a private dance to this. You just say FPL Junior as well if he checks the age of this person.
I have not.
So it might be worth checking.
Have you got a problem with that? Same question back to you there that you just asked me.
I absolutely 100% have a problem with it. Yes.
Good to hear that.
Okay, right. Okay, I'm going to fire in a couple of questions from Twitter now this week. Let's get back on to FPL.
Well, just a shout out here to my loyal Australian fans. Now they've had some time to prepare because you screwed them over. They were fast asleep last time, Mills. Thank you. Thank you for being loyal. Mills wanted these exclusive, but I've bartered him down to getting them on the free tip. So go ahead, Mills.
Okay, so we've got a message in from Alex, and Alex is in New Zealand, and he's from the UK though, but he's over there now. Yeah, so he's saying, afternoon, chaps. This was at 3 o'clock in the morning for us. Afternoon, chaps. Best 3 defenders for the Christmas period. Cheers. Where are we looking? I mean, he's asking for 3 there, which is quite a lot, isn't it?
I mean, fixtures. Chelsea have got some great fixtures at the minute, so I'd be looking at Begovic, depending on whether Courtois is going to steal his place, and maybe not there. Zuma and Azpilicueta are the cheap options, and I think Chelsea are good go-tos right now. Alderweireld, am I saying that right?
Alderweireld, yeah.
Spurs is doing well in terms of bonus points, but Spurs can be suspect for the clean sheets. We've already talked to Moreno, and I also they're not doing too well, but Bertrand I also like at Southampton as an option.
Okay,
JP.
Yeah. The only ones I'd add to that is I like Bellerin. Granted, the points with Bellerin have slightly dropped recently. There is some laughter going on at the moment. I'm curious to that one.
It's just every time you speak now, there's innuendo around it. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
Fair enough.
When you said Bellerin, it's just anyway. Sorry,
I get it.
Carry on.
I've got there now. Bellerin. I'll say it again.
Thank you.
Kyle Walker. He's recently got, I believe, 10 points because he got not only a clean sheet, he got an assist as well. And he got a clean sheet last week against Chelsea, so he's a good point scorer. And then I just echo the thoughts of Quigliano. So there's at least 5 or 6.
Okay, of course. And okay, let's go into one more question before we go into podcast extra. And this is from FPL Kegger again, Australian friend. This one.
Good night, mate.
And he's saying, FPL the source, please predict or make a prophecy, so I'm guessing he's coming to you, Quigliano, of when the Vardy party will end.
I must confess, because confession is part of the religion, the fact that with Vardy I don't own him. So you probably, this is the one thing that you're asking the wrong man. I would have predicted it against United. I thought that was the end of it. But he has the fixtures to go on. I mean, it is a threat. But with all good things, they must come to an end. So potentially, is it this week? Could I be as bold as to say, this is the week? And the answer to that is no, I'm not that bold, because I still think he could grab another one. I just don't want him. I'm going to try and win FPL without any Leicester players and without making one good captain choice all season.
Okay.
That's my challenge.
Unlikely. Go on.
Yeah, well, I'm going to say two things here. One,
That you've said it. So
Sure.
there's one.
There's one.
What else are you going to say?
Short term, he will score against Swansea, who he's got this week. Swansea, he will score. This season, he will get 25 Premier League goals.
And if he doesn't,
I haven't thought about that yet.
will you shave the beard off live on the podcast?
I will shave the beard off live on podcast if Vardy does not score 25 goals this season.
Okay, and if, by the way, we will do this at the end of the season.
Absolutely.
And it will be on us. We'll either do it as a YouTube live stream
Yes.
or as a Google Hangout.
Yes.
That will happen.
Yes, I'm happy for that.
The Google Hangout.
20. Yeah, it's an actual thing. Google Hangout. It's like a live stream. 25 goals.
25.
Okay, in the Premier League.
2-5 in the Premier League.
25 Premier
Yeah,
League goals.
he's on 13 already.
Okay,
so
so we
that's
need-
another... Do the maths, Mr. Quigliano?
Come on, mate. I'm not doing that for you.
It's 12. Okay, I was just testing you. You failed. Never mind. 12 more Premier League goals needed.
Okay.
Guaranteed.
What if he gets 26?
I win.
Yeah, okay, just checking. It wasn't specifically.
It wasn't specifically or specifically?
I kind of made that whatever you wanted it to be.
Okay, we've still got a few more FPL tips to come. We're going to be talking captains. We're going to be having a couple more questions from our Australian and non-Australian fan base, and that's going to be coming up after the podcast extra. If you want to hear the podcast extra, sign up, premium membership, go to the website, and remember, this week only, you can get 25% off using that code CYBER.
Cyber, #cyber.
Absolutely. It has been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Warning, 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 warning. 3, 2, 1. The FantasyFootballTips.co podcast with Mills and Quigliano.